teachers, or teacher in this case, the one who is watching this video. My name is F.Araya, and this is the first task of IEL VI regarding social-emotional learning. Well, first I'll try to define what is social-emotional learning and its relevance in teaching and learning process, in the teaching and learning process. And besides, I'll try to give a proposal that can be used in my school context, that is Liceo F.Araya.UAH from Recoleta. So first, social-emotional learning is defined by the CASEL, that is the Collaborative for Academic, Social and Emotional Learning, which studies those social and emotional skills that should also be learned, or should be also taught and learned in schools besides cognitive skills that are the most common, because these are more related to soft skills or not non-cognitive skills. It describes 5 categories that are the most in general that can be learned through a good social-emotional learning, that are self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, responsible decision-making, and how to build healthy and optimistic relationships. Well, why is it important? Because the thing is that in the Chilean context, well, in general at school, but specifically in the Chilean context, social-emotional learning is not that important, not that relevant. Even though some studies have shown that when you are at school, you learn both like half to half in percentages, cognitive skills and non-cognitive skills, such as empathy or grit, perseverance, building positive relationship, optimism, trust, etc. But they are not common. The importance in the classroom is that social-emotional learning helps dealing with anxiety and stress that are very common. Actually, this is the main focus of my proposal, or one of the focus, actually. Taking better decisions in working towards a goal. I'm working with the high school, that's why it's really important, because they are already thinking about working to a certain goal, that is when they are go outside from the school. Building positive relationships, developing empathy, seeking help when they need it, and that's mostly related to trust, to become optimistic, to become motivated, to develop grit, to develop perseverance, and improving academically. That is at the end is the goal. The schools mostly are related to help students to improve academically and to have good marks and etc. But we have learned through this semester that it's not the only thing that you learn from your teachers, and if they develop those skills, social-emotional learning, social non-cognitive skills, for example, they can be transferred. Here, for example, an author that is called the last name is Zakriszewski. She says that we hear from many teachers in low-income schools that social-emotional learning is an add-on, that is an extra, and that's why I've seen in my IEL experience, and in general, that's why it's happening in most schools in this context. That social-emotional learning, it can be used through meditation activity at the beginning of the class, one day at the week, and that's already social-emotional learning. But it's not that. As I just said, social-emotional learning is as important as cognitive learning, as the most academically related skills. Well, my school in particular is the Liceo F.Araya.UAH from Recoleta, which is a public school for only girls. It's a high school, from 9th to 12th grade. It's considered a challenging school. It's not in a really safe environment. It's really a challenging school, but the girls have a really big focus on cultural activities and environmental caring, and that's why I try to look for. I mean, focus my attention on the participation that they have in cultural activities, and also they show a lot of curiosity in the activities that they perform. Students do not show in general issues with talking about their own emotions. The problem is that they don't manage well the emotions that they have, and they are a little demotivated, and they have a big issue with lack of perseverance. Now, in this school, as it happens in most of the schools in the Chilean context, the Reglamento Interno says that there is a focus on non-cognitive skills, such as respect, empathy, self-confidence, relationship building, optimism, etc. It appears in the current legislation, that is the LEGE, and in the mission and vision of this school, in the Reglamento Interno, but they are not really tackled because the focus is on cognitive skills. Zakrzewski says that socio-emotional skills are implicitly embedded in the standards, that is like the reglamento in this case, whether or not teachers, school leaders, policymakers, or even the creators of the Common Core realize it. They are present, just that you don't know it, and because you don't know it, you don't transfer those skills. So, my proposal is that for an 11th grade, because I work mostly with this grade, tercero medio, is in an English class which has between 35 to 40 students. It's a very large class, and my proposal is well, it's divided into two parts. The first part is in the first 5 to 10 minutes. It's a conflict resolution and dealing with emotions activity. Because one difficulty that they have, as I told you, is the lack of trust and confidence and self-confidence. So they trust each other in a way, but they don't trust themselves. They really lack confidence in themselves. So the activity is the Did You Know activity, which is an exercise when they tell a truth, or two truths and a lie, or two lies and a truth, because they are going to tell, and the students have to guess which one is true or false. And I'm doing this activity because they really participate in those activities, and also because they are curious, and that helps to develop the trust that they have but in the others. And that's why it's so important that the teacher has to participate, because they are going to develop trust in the school, in the school representative, that is the teacher, and taking advantage of the curiosity, the inner curiosity that they have. So the first step is to the trust in the others, in order to be, for example, to seek help from the others. The other part, that's going to take the long part of the class, is the sharing stories. But first, what I have to mention is that they have to learn that failing is okay, because the lack of perseverance is really evident, and there's a large percentage of students that are like, when they are failing in something, they really get like down and do not want to do more activities, because they think that they are going to fail at everything, and that's what they have to learn. And that's why the teacher has to develop these skills, because he or she has to know that failing is okay and it's part of life, and that you can always do it again. That's why the teacher is going to start with telling a personal story, which is like doomed to failure story, and the students have to give a possible solution. In that way, you are telling a story where you fail in something, and the students are going to guess what outcome or what solution can you give them, and then they are going to write stories that are doomed to failure situations, and someone another students will give a possible solution. In that way they are going to develop trust in themselves, they are going to develop self-confidence because they are writing a personal story, and they are going to share those stories, and that at the end they are going to develop also the cognitive skill that is writing skill, because it's going to be in English. So that will be my proposal. Mostly I took information from the author Zagriewski, as I told you, but also from the IREX and also Gazelle. And well, that will be my proposal and my presentation. Thank you very much.